live before you die. Such simple words, but behind it a powerful meaning. From the mouth of one of our generation's greatest influencers, Steve Jobs delivers an admirable commencement address to Stanford University in May of 2005. His intended audience is students, college graduates, but I believe with the right perspective, his message can be influential to everyone. Steve Jobs leaves us with 4 main points. The first one he gives us is to follow your heart even if you don't know where it's going. When Steve was in college, he was tired of taking classes that he wasn't interested in and wasting his parents' money, so he dropped out. He did stay, however, to drop in on a couple courses that he was interested in, which is how he came across the typography course. He said back then that he didn't think that this would be something that he could use in the real world, but little did he know back then that this would be the start to it all. When Apple was creating the Macintosh computer, Steve Jobs used his knowledge of typography to integrate it within the design. Looking forward, he said that he didn't know how this would be able to fit into his life, but looking back, he says it all became very clear. Follow your heart, even if you don't know where it's going. The next point Steve Jobs gives us is that the worst thing that could happen to you just might be the best. When Steve was publicly fired from Apple and replaced with someone who he personally recruited, he said that was one of the worst things that could have ever happened to him. But through the devastation, he found a silver lining. He still loved what he did. Steve Jobs, during his let go with Apple, he founded Next and he founded Pixar. Next was eventually bought by Apple, which allowed him to return back to his job into the company. He said, "Sometimes life hits you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith. Don't lose faith." He said that he was convinced that the only thing that could get him through it was that he loved what he did. The worst thing that could happen to you just might be the best. The next point and lesson that Jobs teaches us is to live life like it's your last. Jobs uses a quote that he heard when he was young that says, "If you live each day like it's your last, one day you most certainly will be right." Jobs discusses how he had to battle through pancreatic cancer, which he defeated the first time around, but sadly it did return. Jobs says that knowing that he was going to die soon was the best thing that could ever happen to him. And Jobs also noted that knowing that you're going to die is the best way to escape the trap of thinking that you have something to lose. Live each day like it's your last. The last lesson that Jobs teaches us is to not let anyone drown out your inner voice. He told us that not to live someone else's life, and most importantly, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow always know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. With a positive language and an uplifting tone, Steve Jobs' main purpose for this speech was to encourage anyone and everyone to live out their dreams and not live behind their fears. I believe that in knowing that Steve Jobs did eventually lose his battle to cancer, that it made the speech all the more impactful and powerful to me as an audience member, in showing us that he truly did live out each message that he gave to us in his life before he died.